Hello, beautiful people. Welcome back to our channel. Despite the fact that Asari Dokubo had created BCG, Nnamdi Kanu seems unruffled. In fact, he has decided to send warning to not just the southeastern governors, but to the traditional rulers and every other persons involved in this act. But before we go into the news and further analysis, we'd like you to subscribe to our channel if you have not already done so by clicking on the red subscribe button. Beside it, you will see a bell notification icon. Please go ahead, click on it to get notified as soon as we update our channel on YouTube. Well, Nnamdi Kanu, the leader of the indigenous people of Biafra, IPOB, has warned that Fulani herdsmen have no land for permanent settlement in the whole of southern Nigeria, particularly the southeast. The IPOB leader warned that any southeast or south-south governor, traditional ruler, or president general of any community that codes or cedes any space, including for financial reason, to Fulani herdsmen is ultimately calling for the death of their people. Speaking through the spokesman of IPOB, that's Ima Powerful, the separatist group declared a security outfit, that's Eastern Security Network, codenamed ESN, would not spare such a person as they will equally pay with their own lives. So you see, he's actually saying something that is very serious here. A statement by Powerful reads, IPOB has made it abundantly clear that we have no land for Fulani herdsmen, and we have no land for Fulani herdsmen settlement in Biafra land. The north have more than enough space, and more space than the south, especially the southeast. We must warn that any traditional ruler or president general of any community in Biafra land who ventures to cede any space of land to the Fulani herdsmen for the sake of monetary gain or issue is ultimately calling for the death of their people as well. The person must equally pay with his own life for such ceding of land to the Fulani herdsmen. He must die. IPOB and ESN are prepared to deal with them. Even the governor who tried will not go scot-free. We don't have land for Fulani herdsmen or Fulani terrorists in Nigeria. They are free to stay in the north where they were allowed in 1804. This is really strong, which means, but judging by what Nnamdi Kanu is saying very quickly, in fact, it reminds me very quickly in another news what Akeredolu said in Ondo State. He said, yes, there may be land, but there's no land for Fulani settlement or open grazing and all that. What they have is for National Livestock Program, a part of it, but definitely not for headers and all that. But from this warning I'm seeing here, this one has passed, it's all right too. This one now is a different dimension. When I looked at the history of some of these issues, I took a retrospect some years back, that's last year, 2 years ago, and I noticed a community in Delta then, the young man who was living in there, made a video of very beautiful houses. They fled out of that community. They had to leave their community because of Fulani herdsmen. They were kidnapping their youths, raping their women, maiming and all manner. And the guy had to beg, saying they should stop the Fulani herdsmen. But on investigations, according to the man, he said they found out that the Fulani herdsmen actually did not just wake up one morning and decide to live in their community. He said on the contrary. He said they actually offered their monarchs, the traditional ruler, good amount of money, which they now sold the land to them. So by default, they actually are legitimate right owners of that place. And by the time they sold the land to them, all of a sudden the youth woke up and said, what are you doing in our community? And they started. Now, with that happening, the traditional rulers were tongue-tied because actually their hands were in those transactions. And over the years, I noticed there's almost been a trend, not just in Delta State, in some other states, in fact, almost the whole of the South. If you check the southwest that is brewing now, we are, I think, in Saki also. So many things are happening right now over that, over Saki, in Saki, where Fulani herdsmen and the Yorubas are actually having a field day. It's a terrible, terrible situation, I tell you. In fact, the Yorubas are really calling out. That thing, they had to burn their heart over it. But if you look at this, you not find out that, like the Yorubas will say, "Nitonsheni no many." The one who is doing you is the person who is doing you is actually close to you, quote and unquote. The person who is actually, selling you off is actually close to you, is not far away for you. But that clearly shows also that, you cannot subdue a particular tribe. You cannot bring down or ridicule them or throw them off balance if there's no insider information doing that. Now, a lot of persons will say Mazi Nnamdi Kanu is a bit high-handed, but the situation is dire now. If you know what is going on in the southwest, you will understand why, to a great extent, the southeast needs, and every other part of south needs to deliberately guard their ancestral land. Look at what is happening in Benue, where they have turned some places in Benue and displaced them. They have a lot of internally displaced persons, IDP camps in Benue, and some of these guys, though they are citizens of Nigeria, they are now living in IDP camp. They are still Nigerians. Nothing has changed yet, but they're now living IDP camp in their own country, and yet their ancestral lands have been changed, renamed, and if it continues in this light, probably in the next 4 5 years, the narrative and the history of that area will also be changed. And now you'll be hearing things like that area has always been a Fulani land. Now you now understand why Mazi Nnamdi Kanu is taking this very harsh, drastic step. But the one I find a bit tasking, I don't know how that will be easy at all. I don't see it. Maybe after the rain, but as at this rain, I don't think it's really visible. That don't forget that the law of the land, allows the government, the state government, to cede the land to any tribe he deems fit, because he has the right to sign or call to sign. So if for any reason he decides to cede some of this land to any other tribe, and by law of the land, he's actually given that power as a governor of any state, of the state, whether it's southeast or any other place, to see the land as a well place. That's why you see, when people are shouting at that the governor, former governor of Imo State, Roger Sokorocha, have taken ancestral land. These are the things, because as at then, powers were vested on him to do anything he did, because as the chief security officer of that state, he could actually do any signing. So saying that the governors will not be spared, maybe he's referring to after their tenure, because within their tenure, I think the law actually backs them to do whatever they like. So it's always advisable when you're voting, you vote the person who has the mandate of the people. Well, that's where we're going to wrap it up. What's your take on what Mazi Nnamdi Kanu have done? Do you think it's really high-handed and is actually teaching towards very harsh tyranny? Or do you think actually necessity demands he takes very harsh decisions just to protect that region?